This is where wellness comes in. This is where knowing how to take care of yourself on a daily basis is something that's important for you to be able to manage when the things go left, go AWOL, go effed up, right? Whatever it is you want to call it. And so I've had to learn over the years that like I have to put myself first, and I have to do a lot of things that are good for me physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, even in my career, even with my finances, because if you've got these things in check, you're less likely to get stressed, you're less likely to get heightened emotions over them. So when something happens, you can handle it. So what does that mean? It means that you've got to look at every kind of aspect of your life. And there are 12 key aspects, right? So I mentioned them some before. We've got physical, we've got mental, we've got emotional, we've got spiritual, you've got your career, you've got your finances, you've got your social relationships with your friends and family, etc. You've got your intimate relationship with, a partner or whatnot. You have your environment where you live. You have recreation, the things that you like to do, your hobbies, things for fun as well. And then you have like your culture. So that could be being part of the queer community. It could be your ethnicity. It could be where you grew up. It could be your religion. All of those areas are cultural things. And then for us people in the queer community, we have our queer identity.
Welcome to the Queer Quest podcast, your beacon of light and sprinkle of glitter in the queer community. I'm your host, Cristiano Green, CEO and founder of Queer Quest and a transformation coach for queer individuals. And together, we're embarking on a journey of transformation. Each week, we bring you a new training topic or connecting with visionary queer leaders in healing and coaching, diving deep into conversations that inspire growth, celebrate diversity, and empower you to live authentically. So wherever you are, settle in and let's get ready to unlock the vibrant potential within. This is where your quest begins.
Hello, all you fabulous souls, and welcome to another episode of the Queer Quest podcast. I'm your host, Cristiano Green, the CEO and founder of Queer Quest and a transformation coach for people in the queer community. So this week on the podcast, I wanted to talk about a topic that I've talked about in the past quite a few times, but something I think is relevant to continue to have the conversation about. It's important for us to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. So today on the podcast, we're talking about mental health in the queer community, and we're talking about wellness. So we're talking about the stuff that maybe we struggle with, but we're talking about what can we do in our day-to-day life that we can actually manifest and make sure that we are in our best possible, places internally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, all of those areas, so that we can move forward, deal with some of the stuff that we've been struggling with. Because mental health is something we need to focus on. I have struggled with mental health throughout my life. I think everyone has as well. And those people who say they don't, I think that they're not really being honest with themselves, or maybe they're trying to portray a certain perception of themselves, that they're all good, that they're perfect, because as we know as well, people in the queer community have that desire to try to be perfect as well. It's quite a common theme within our community, which stems from us growing up as queer people in a world that wasn't built for us. And the order to try to be perfect in every other area was to overcompensate for the fact that we are queer and we are different and we are not necessarily have been accepted throughout our life. So we push through perfect as well. So talk about mental health as well. For me, when we look at some numbers, more than 50% of people in the queer community suffer from some sort of depression at some point in their life. 60% will deal with anxiety. Often it's kind of social anxiety as well, fear of being around other people, anxious and whatnot. 70% of people in the queer community deal with loneliness. It could be long-term loneliness or short-term loneliness at some point in their life. And 1 in 10 people in the queer community attempt suicide, right? So the major mental health numbers, which are the 4 kind of things that I've shared about, are a lot higher, 2 to 3 times higher than people, the rest of the general population. And, because of mental health issues in our actual community, 1 in 3 people in the queer community suffer from either substance abuse or addiction issues, again, which is 2 to 3 times higher than the general population. Now, you can probably sit back and relate to either dealing with some of those things yourself at some point in your life. You might be struggling with it now, or you could probably know another person that is in the queer community that is suffering with those things. So again, when you look at the numbers, everyone either has experienced it themselves or knows someone who is experiencing mental health concerns. Whether that person is open enough to talk about it, you can probably see some behaviors and actions within someone that can tell maybe they're struggling internally. They might be sad on a constant basis. They might feel withdrawn. They might isolate themselves out of fear and anxiety, right? So again, a lot of behaviors that will show to those things. There was just a couple of surface things, but oftentimes, the more you get to know someone, the more you can kind of see what they are struggling with as well. For me personally, I got bullied a lot growing up. And again, people in the queer community, 2 to 3 times higher, again, in the categories of likelihood of being bullied. And again, likelihood of being bullied for their queerness, right? Whatever that is, sexuality, gender, identity, those major areas, right? So I dealt with bullying severely in school every single day of my life, which caused a lot of social anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety around going to school. I had a lot of anxiety around being in the playground. I had a lot of anxiety about, those moments between classes where you would go from one place to the next place. I had a lot of anxiety around going to the bathrooms. And in fact, I would try to go into the bathroom in the office where all of the staff would work because I felt like that was the most safest place for me to go. But yeah, I had a lot of anxiety around that. And of course, when you have to deal with constant anxiety and you're afraid to talk about these things, because if you talk about them to, say, your family about you getting bullied, they're going to wonder why you're getting bullied. And when they wonder why you're getting bullied, you don't want to tell them about the fact that it's to do with people that, bullying you for being gay or whatever it is, right? So you don't say anything. You just take it, you take it, you take it. You get pushed around, you get picked on, you get called all the names under the sun, and you start to internalize all of those things along with your own internalized experience as a queer person. And so when we have those internalized experiences, what happens? They manifest again in mental health. So again, dealing with social anxiety. And for me, it led to severe depression where I isolated. I pretty much had no friends. I would pretty much go to school, go to work, come home, and just be in my room. I would isolate myself even from my family because, again, I was so fearful of them knowing. And so it just adds to another layer of where the mental health got worse. Now it got worse and worse and worse as I finished school. The bullying continued in the workplace by other colleagues and actually by managers, people of power. And I just thought, maybe this is never going to end for me. Maybe this life is meant, I'm meant to be depressed. And at that point, I contemplated suicide as well. I thought about it. I thought about how I do it. I thought about how it would affect other people. Would anyone ever miss me? All of the kind of thoughts that you might go through if you're someone who has actually thought about or contemplated suicide as well. Thankfully, I never got to the place of actually doing it because I gave myself an ultimatum. I said, you know what? If you're getting bullied for all of these things about, being gay especially, and you haven't yet come to terms with that, meaning you've not even ever explored it, you've never, spoken to anyone about it, you've never, been around other people who you know are gay, you've never kissed someone, you don't even know what it's like. So I had to really dig deep and get up the courage to go down to Sydney to where the gay bars and gay clubs were. And this is in Australia for any of those who may be listening and don't know where I grew up. And I lived about an hour and a half away from Sydney, in a smaller coastal town where there was a lot of people who were very religious. It was very backwards. And yeah, just a lot of people who kind of just, you get taught one way and they kind of live their life that way as well. And you have to kind of escape those smaller towns, go to bigger cities to kind of evolve and open your mind and your perceptions to different kinds of people as well. So I went down and thankfully, I started to realize, wow, there are people out there like me. Wow, I'm feeling all these different feelings. Like, wow, like there are happy people, there are like people who are living their best life, and all of those things. And for me, then I got caught up into the party scene because I wanted to be around these people all the time. I would go out once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, even 5 times a week, partying and getting myself caught up in alcohol and party drugs. So for me, when we're talking about the categories of mental health, I've dealt with social anxiety, I've dealt with depression, I've dealt with substance abuse, and I've definitely dealt with, suicidal thoughts as well. And loneliness, of course, because like I said, I isolated myself for years and years and years. And then just because I started to go out and started to come out and, go through the experience, didn't mean that the anxiety went away or that the depression went away or that the feelings of loneliness went away. I just started to learn coping strategies that were alcohol and drugs and sex and porn and food and all of those things that would, like I said, that would, if ever I felt a feeling that was negative, I was looking for some instant gratification to change that. So again, easy fix was having a glass of wine, which turned into a bottle, going to a friend's house and smoking some weed, which might have led into taking something else and going deeper down that track, going out to a nightclub and partying and just dancing the night away, or try to pick up and have sex so that I could try to feel, get away from these feelings of loneliness, online dating apps and Grindr and all those things. But, none of those things ever eventuated. And it just always left me feeling after the party ended, even more depressed and even more lonely and isolated. And I didn't want to tell anyone, again, because I had a perfect image. So I didn't share with my friends that I was dealing with feeling lonely. I was the strong one. Oh, I don't need a partner. I'm good. I'm like, yeah, fine. Like when it happens, it'll happen. Like that was one of my often sayings is, yeah, I want it to be like, if I meet the right guy, I want it to be the right thing. So I don't want to jump into anything that's not right. And I would say that over and over again. I'm trying to say it to myself to make myself believe it. But at home, when I was on my own, because I lived alone for a lot of my, years as well, isolated, lonely, depressed, and then anxious, because oftentimes I would get so wasted that I don't even remember what happened the night before. It would cause all this anxiety of like, what did I do? Like sometimes I woke up in places I don't remember with people next to me. I've never couldn't even comprehend who they were, and I had to try to sneak out of this person's house. Like, what the F am I doing? So I know from many years of dealing with mental health issues on and off that it's a constant work in progress. I had to go through a lot of healing and personal growth to understand why I was feeling that way. So I've spent many, many years in therapy. Long time, way too many years to be quite honest, because I kept going around in circles with some of the major problems that I had. I also spent a long time doing different personal development courses as well. Those were the things that started to kickstart things for me. As well, because like I was understanding about my values and understanding about the reasons why I had these triggers, and like that a trigger is there for you to work through things and understand, if you don't actually process some of the things that have happened to you, the major trauma things or even the minor trauma things in your life, then you can actually go in this deep cycle of just back and forth with your mental health and it can go up and down. And until I really worked through it, I started healing from it. I then was at a point where I was like, okay, I feel like I'm in a good place. Of course, life is going to throw you things and it's going to cause you stresses and it's going to cause you situations that will make you feel certain feelings and emotions. And we can't avoid that. We can't avoid negative feelings altogether.
Are you ready to embark on a journey of transformation that's uniquely yours? Welcome to QueerQuest, the world's first and best personal development platform created by and for the queer community. Imagine a space where your authenticity isn't just accepted, it's celebrated. A place where you can grow, learn, and thrive alongside a vibrant community that understands you. At QueerQuest, we're more than just a platform. We're a family. Connect with like-minded individuals, share your stories, and empower each other to reach new heights. Our tailored courses are designed to address the unique experiences of the queer community, from self-love and confidence building to career advancement and beyond. We've got you covered. It's time to step into your power and transform your journey. Join us today at courses.queerquest.vip, see what we're all about, and sign up to begin your quest.
This is where wellness comes in. This is where knowing how to take care of yourself on a daily basis is something that's important for you to be able to manage when the things go left, go AWOL, go effed up, right? Whatever it is you want to call it. And so I've had to learn over the years that I have to put myself first, and I have to do a lot of things that are good for me physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, even in my career, even with my finances, because if you've got these things in check, you're less likely to get stressed, you're less likely to get heightened emotions over them. So when something happens, you can handle it. So what does that mean? It means that you've got to look at every kind of aspect of your life. And there are 12 key aspects, right? So I mentioned them some before. We've got physical, we've got mental, we've got emotional, we've got spiritual, you've got your career, you've got your finances, you've got your social relationships with your friends and family, etc. You've got your intimate relationship with, a partner or whatnot. You have your environment where you live. You have recreation, the things that you like to do, your hobbies, things for fun as well. And then you have your culture. So that could be being part of the queer community. It could be your ethnicity. It could be where you grew up. It could be your religion. All of those areas are cultural things. And then for us people in the queer community, we have our queer identity. And this is kind of, an amalgamation of who we are, but really just adapting, because as queer people, we've had to go through a lot of different things. So I believe that our queerness is a deeper part of who we truly are because it's been ingrained in us. And you can put that into cultural, but I like to separate it for people in the queer community because I feel it's such an important aspect of us that we need to have its own category as well. And so when I say getting yourself in check mentally, in all these different areas, it's about looking at those areas and going, where are the things that I'm doing well at? Where am I happy at? And also then, where are the things that I'm not going well at? Where are the things that I'm struggling with? Because for me, like I said, when you look at them, a lot of my stresses maybe over the past 3 or 4 years, especially moving to a different country and then starting different businesses, came around the business and the finances, right? When things are going well and the money's flowing in, of course, it's great. But you have to prepare yourself because there are times when the market shifts. You might be going through your own personal things and you have to put things to a side, right? Like recently, I just renovated this house that I live in now. It was just fantastic. And I moved in with my partner. We've got a much bigger space. That took a lot more energy from me than I anticipated. And certain things in my business went on the back burner. And then because of that, then, the finances wasn't coming at the same time. It was causing a little bit of stress. But I had to do my daily wellness stuff and realize that, hey, look, yes, you're going through a small period. That period is about to end. You're going to get back on track and everything's going to be good because you're working on that. But again, it's hard because you can't manage all 12 areas the same at the same time, because sometimes you've got to put your focus on something, right? Like if you're having struggles with your partner in your relationship, you could have put more effort into the relationship, and sometimes that might mean that another area will kind of go on the back burner. So it's about kind of not trying to find the balance, but trying to find a bit of the ebb and flow to really understand, okay, I understand why that's happened. I'm going to fix that part and work on that as well. And you put the effort in the area into those things that are meaningful to you, right? Not all 12 areas at one time are going to be important, right? Because for me right now, I'm important on growing QueerQuest and growing the business and helping and supporting more people in the queer community, right? Because I believe that that's the most important area for me, and that's my passion, that's my purpose, that's my mission. So me putting effort and energy into doing that and creating and bringing out the stuff that I'm launching as well is important. And that's what's coming out, in the coming weeks and months, and I'll be growing it, with the help of some other people, which is fantastic as well. And so, like I said, when I put the effort there, sometimes, the recreational fun things might not be there, but you've got to find a small balance. So for me, like I said, physical, I go to the gym, I play tennis, I do different classes. I probably do that 5-6 times a week. So I'm physically making effort. I'm also walking my dogs with my partner, twice a day. So we walk for a couple of kilometers every single day. So I feel like physically I'm in a good place. I'm putting in the effort and the time and the energy to being able to do that as well. When it comes to, say, the mental stuff, I do stuff that works for me on a consistent basis that build into routine. So I'm a routine person. So I like to get up in the morning really early, 5:30. I do my meditations. I prepare myself for the day. We get out, we walk the dogs. We do all the things that we need to do. Then we go to the gym, and then we have breakfast together. And I get into work. He goes to work. I do my work. I then can go in the afternoon. I can go to do some wellness, which is one of my things that I do on a regular basis, which is, going to the spa, going to the sauna, the steam room, the ice baths, and just chilling out for like, say, 30 to 60 minutes on a daily basis. And sometimes the great thing about that is because I go there so often, I know people, have good friends there, so I can also get a bit of social in there as well. And then I come home and I spend the evening usually with my partner, or I'll go out and do something as well, unless I've got something to do with work. So I'm constantly trying to figure out what I can do, to continue to grow and elevate and put myself in a good position like that as well. So what I'm trying to talk about is that, like, you can be struggling with your mental health, but it's often because you've neglected certain parts of yourself. And oftentimes it's emotional and mental, which lead to mental health, of course. And so when we can work through that, we can understand that deeper, we can then do the deeper work. But I'm trying to help you understand, like, a foundational thing of, like, if you really want to focus on it on a day-to-day basis and, like, have it as a way of life, that, like, mental health is important to you, wellness is important to you, you've got to figure out the flow of your day and your life and create a routine around something that really, really incorporates you making shifts in, like I said, all of those 12 areas of life, which is one of the major things that we work on at QueerQuest. With one of the programs that we have, which is QueerQuest Pro, every single month we focus on a different area there, because we know that it's important. And if you can put 30 days into your calendar focusing solely on this, then you build a habit. And so that can compound into the next month when you change the next area as well, which is why it's such a great thing to be focused on mental health and wellness, because, again, it works across every single area of your life as well. And I know this as well because I've helped hundreds of queer people over the years, and so many of the queer people that have come to me were constantly taking, prescription medications and using, alcohol and drugs as well, to cope and to manage the mental health. And when we kind of took a step back, did some work on what was really causing them, distress, emotionally, mentally, which then led and spread out into the other areas, we were able to see, okay, like, we can fix these things here, but then let's create the foundation so that you across your life can be in a better position mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and all of those things as well. Because it's important, right? Really important. And that's the point that I really want to get across is that, like, people think that I've just got to focus on this one thing, but it's actually an amalgamation of all the different areas that we need to focus on for us to be able to do that. So really, some actionable strategies would be to really look at the 12 areas of your life and see where you're doing well, where you're not, what is your focus, why are some areas not, is it okay for some of those to not be so, high at the moment? Maybe rate them out of 10, and that would be a great start, because then you can go, okay, look, you know what? My physical health hasn't been very good. I've been trying to focus on my mental health, but of course my physical is going to affect me mentally, right? If I'm feeling tired, if I'm not eating well, then my body's not going to be able to be at its best. So then how am I going to feel mentally and emotionally great when I'm trying to make plans and I'm so tired, I'm going to cancel the plans, and then I'm not seeing people. And so then I put myself into the cycle of being lonely and yada, 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 right? If they all kind of make interlocked with each other as well. So again, mental health is so important for us to focus on. If you're struggling with mental health, if you're not focused on your, self-care, your wellness on a regular basis, they'll probably go hand in hand. I don't know many people around, or many of the clients that I've helped and supported over the years, that when we've created a great routine around self-care and wellness, that they haven't been able to dissipate their issues with mental health, especially when we're compounding that by actually doing some of the deeper work on healing and growing in the areas that maybe they're struggling mentally and emotionally. Again, because we all have baggage, we all have traumas, we all have stuff that we've gone through in our life that is probably holding us back in this way and probably causing us to have certain mental health concerns, stress from work, stress from relationships, stress from life. It all adds up. And when we don't focus on think of it like a bucket. So we're a mental bucket here. If you add stress, you add struggle, you add some trauma, you add some, like physical issues, your bucket is going to be at at its breaking point, and then you're going to be trickling over. That's when you have the panic attacks. That's when you have the lashing out. That's when you get angry at people and you lash out, right? Because you can't control it when it is bubbling over. But when we talk about the wellness and you do the things like, I'm going to go for a nice walk, I'm going to spend time with my partner, I'm going to, go on some dates, I'm going to, go to the spa, I'm going to, call my mom regularly, whatever it is that really helps you in a wellness, better like wellness area. I'm like, I'm going to sort out my financial problems. I'm going to work on clearing out my debt. You clear out the stuff that's been causing the chaos, and you can handle and you can manage life better as well. So I trust that this has been helpful. I trust this has been valuable. And I trust this is a conversation that I personally am not going to stop talking about, but I wanted to highlight it in a sense that like I have struggled myself. I know it. I continue to have to focus on this because if I don't, definitely I know that I could fall down and I wouldn't be able to pick myself up. I need some support. And getting support is okay. 100%. I've had so much people support me in my life. I've reached out. Like I said, I've done therapy. I've done coaching. I've got, personal development courses and programs. I continually do things like that. I have friends I can support and talk to as well, right? I've built that around my life as well because I think it's important as well. And so if you're someone who needs support, you know where to find me. If I'm the right person, you can follow me on social media. Cristiano Green on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. I often share a lot of stuff. I've got some free Facebook groups that you might want to come and be a part of as well. Or you can check out QueerQuest by going to courses.queerquest.vip to see if maybe that's an area that might be supportive for you as a queer person on your journey. Okay, I'm going to end it there. If you've got any questions, you've got any shares, you've got any comments, or just want to, reach out to me, again, you know where to find me, or you can comment below on this video. And until then, always remember that you've got this and I've got you. Bye for now.